Hello everyone, welcome back to Oni-chan. Today, I'm going to summary Hunter x Hunter for you. This is a fairly famous anime by author Togashi Yoshihiro. It revolves around battles and the growth of Gon. Please stay tuned on Whale Island. Gon is trying to catch the Lord of the Swamp. After many days of waiting, he finally conquered it, to prove to his aunt that he could do it, with the hope of meeting Jing, Gon's father, again, and fulfilling his dream of becoming a great hunter. Thanks to his tireless efforts, he finally gained Mito's approval. The next day, Gon prepared his belongings to set out on his journey. He also declared that he would become an excellent hunter. And he said goodbye to the people of Whale Island. Gon said, "When I become the best hunter in the world, I'll come back." While on the ship, it was also his first time stepping into the outside world. Gon saw many other hunters, who were, like him, preparing to take the hunter exam. Suddenly, Gon predicted that a storm was coming, and he confidently told the ship's captain. This surprised the captain greatly. Unexpectedly, the storm really did appear. Thanks to the captain's skill, the ship was able to easily get through the storm, and he also realized that on this ship, there were some truly talented people as well. Now, everyone began to introduce themselves. The man wearing glasses and a suit was named Leorio, and the guy with the blonde hair was Kurapika. At that moment, the captain asked everyone why they were trying to become hunters. He also realized that Gon was Jing's son. After Gon said he came from Whale Island, then the captain told them that he was actually one of the hunter exam proctors. Having recognized their talent, as well as their willingness to help others in need, he announced to the three of them that they had successfully passed the first test. The next day, the captain took them to the next destination. He also mentioned that on top of a mountain, there was a giant cedar tree. He advised Gon to head there first, as it was a shortcut to the location of the second exam. Suddenly, a mysterious man overheard the conversation. Now, the three of them were discussing how to get to Zabin City, since that was where the exam was being held. But when they looked at the map, the cedar tree was in the opposite direction. Yet Gon still trusted the old man, so he decided to follow the captain's advice. Seeing this, Kurapika also decided to follow Gon. While heading in the opposite direction, Leorio found out that there would be no bus going to Zabin City. So, shamelessly, he ran after Gon's group. Now, they had arrived at a town, but it seemed quite deserted, with not a single person in sight. Suddenly, an old woman appeared along with her attendants, and immediately set up a riddle challenge. Only those who answered correctly could reach the cedar tree. Those who failed would have to retake the exam next year. And they had 5 seconds to answer the question. But there would only be one question. If they answered incorrectly, all three would be instantly disqualified. Suddenly, the man who had been secretly following Gon's group appeared, and declared that he would take the challenge. Now, the old woman began the challenge, with the question, if your lover and mother are captured, and you can save only one, who do you choose? He chose to save his mother, and was allowed to pass the challenge. Now it was the trio's turn to face the challenge, but because the question was too difficult to choose, it made Leorio very frustrated. He felt that choosing either one wasn't right, because the question had no correct answer. Suddenly, this made Kurapika realize choosing either option would cause them to fail the challenge. Just as the old woman announced that time was almost up for them to choose. Suddenly, Leorio raised his stick, intending to attack the old woman. But Kurapika stopped him, and declared that they had successfully passed the challenge. At first, the old woman had only said, "Go ahead," but never actually confirmed that the man had passed the challenge. Then, the old woman acknowledged their success, and opened a path for them to pass through the town to reach the cedar tree. At that moment, Gon also suddenly realized that he couldn't choose just one of the two. This made him feel very uneasy. But later in life, he would certainly have to face such choices. And that was exactly the meaning behind the challenge. They had successfully passed the second stage. Now, they had reached the cedar tree. At the base of the tree, there was a wooden cabin. When all three of them opened the door, they were shocked to see a monster attacking someone, and kidnapping a young girl before running away. Quickly, the three divided up the tasks. Leorio would stay behind to tend to the severely injured man, because he was a doctor. Meanwhile, Kurapika and Gon would chase after the monster. Kurapika was now very surprised at Gon's physical strength. Learning that the monster could speak human language, Gon took the opportunity to insult him, while also using his fishing rod to launch an attack. Kurapika quickly caught the girl, after Gon had chased after the monster. At that moment, Kurapika also noticed a strange tattoo on the girl. Suddenly, Leorio appeared, saying he had left the injured man behind. This made Kurapika realize something, and he immediately attacked Leorio, because he recognized that this was an imposter. The girl was also one of them. Meanwhile, Gon had caught up with the monster. But just as it was about to attack him, Gon realized that this wasn't the same person he had chased, because he noticed that the face and voice were different. This surprised the creature, and so, the three of them had successfully passed this challenge. Now, the monsters introduced themselves, saying that they were the ones conducting this test. They then brought all three to the next location. The next day, they arrived at Zabin City, the place where the hunter exam would be held. A guide now took them to the location. They thought that the tall building would be the exam venue. But in fact, it was the opposite. The real location was a tiny restaurant. However, all the hunters from around the world were gathering there. It was actually a secret location. As the group entered inside, then the guide spoke a secret password, and the group entered a hidden room to access the true location of the hunter exam. Suddenly, upon arrival, the three of them noticed the atmosphere was very unusual. Everyone around seemed extremely tense. They were then given their individual number tags. At that moment, a chubby man introduced himself as Tonpa. He said this was his 35th time taking the exam. Tonpa also introduced various participants to the trio, saying that many powerful individuals were present here, each with their own unique skills and abilities. Suddenly, someone touched a red-haired man, and he instantly transformed the attacker's hand into flower petals. This shocked everyone, as he had just harmed someone right in the middle of the exam. Tonpa explained that the man was number 44, known as the magician Hisoka. This was actually his second attempt at the exam, because in his first attempt, he killed a proctor, which caused him to fail last year. Tonpa said that the hunter exam was just like that, where the strong survive and the weak are eliminated. Then Tonpa gave each of them a can of juice. But when Gon drank from his can, he immediately sensed something was wrong with the drink. But it didn't affect him, because back when he lived on Whale Island, Gon had tasted all kinds of herbs, so he had developed a resistance to poison. At this point, we also learned that Tonpa wasn't a good person at all. He was actually the rookie crusher of the exam, always looking for new participants to sabotage. As he was thinking of who to target next, a white-haired boy ran up asking for a can of juice. He casually drank it without hesitation, and said the poison was useless against him. This boy was actually one of the main characters of the anime. His name was Kill Lua and his number was 99. Now, the exam was about to begin, and the first stage proctor was named Satatsu. The challenge was simple: just follow him to the second stage. Anyone who fell behind or didn't make it in time would be immediately disqualified from the exam. This was also a test of everyone's endurance. Everyone started chasing after Satatsu, and soon began to feel tired. Suddenly, Leorio noticed Kill Lua using a skateboard, thinking he was breaking the rules. But Gon explained, that's not true, because the examiner only said, follow, without banning the use of any tools. That also surprised Kill Lua. He quickly approached Gon to learn more about him. Finding out that Gon was the same age made Kill Lua very excited. So he dropped his skateboard and decided to run alongside Gon. At this point, everyone started to notice that the examiner's movements were gradually getting faster and faster. Leorio began to feel exhausted, and he decided to stop and take a break. Suddenly, the power of the flash seemed to possess him, giving him a sudden burst of speed. This made Gon very happy. Now that they were nearing the final destination, Satatsu suddenly switched to serious mode, so everyone started picking up their pace to follow him. At this moment, Kurapika noticed Leorio's energy, which made him think he should do the same. Kurapika then took off his coat to run faster. Leorio asked Kurapika why he hated hunters who pursued money, and Kurapika explained it was because members of the Phantom Troop had killed his Kurta clan just to steal their eyes. Because the Kurta people possessed eyes said to be the most beautiful in the world. The Phantom Troop had murdered his Kinto to take those eyes, and Kurapika made a vow to himself. He vowed that he himself would destroy the phantom troop and reclaim the eyes of his clan. At that moment, Leorio also spoke up, saying that in order to help people, what he needed was money. Because his dream was to cure others. And to make it happen faster, he needed to become a top hunter, so he could treat people. That made Kurapika very happy. And Gon and Killua also came to understand everything. Now Killua was very surprised by Gon, because Gon was able to keep up like that. Gon then asked Killua why he joined the exam, and Killua said it was because it sounded fun. Gon then shared his dream with Killua. Now everyone had reached the destination. Quickly, Killua and Gon sped up to see who would arrive first. And the two of them were the first to pass the first stage, which surprised Satatsu. And so Gon's group successfully completed the first stage. The second stage was to pass through the Mill Sea wetlands. As the name suggests, this place is full of deadly deception, because dangerous creatures live in the swamp. Suddenly, someone appeared claiming that Satatsu was a fake. Quickly, Hisoka handed the playing cards to that guy, so everyone could distinguish who was real and who was fake. But the young man Hanzo was too easily fooled. At this moment, Satatsu also said that this place was full of deception, so they had to try hard to get through it to reach the second stage. Thus, everyone quickly moved along with Satatsu. By now, 36 candidates had been eliminated from the first stage. Currently, 368 candidates had to overcome the Mill Sea wetlands. Now everyone could feel the density of the fog. Some people were planning to assassinate Hisoka, but it seemed like that was not a good idea. Suddenly, even more people started disappearing. So Leorio and Kurapika were tracking those ahead. Suddenly, those ahead kept disappearing more and more. Then a group of strawberries appeared. Suddenly, someone stepped forward from behind. Unexpectedly, a noggin-pulling turtle appeared, and the terror of Mill Sea wetlands began. One by one, the contestants were left behind. From creatures like butterflies, crows, or mushrooms, all were sensory traps of this swamp. At this moment, Gon and Killua were running after the judges. Suddenly, they were attacked by a stalking frog, and it swallowed them whole. Suddenly, it felt something uncomfortable. It turned out Tonpas can help those two, escaping a life-threatening crisis. But since it couldn't do anything, it left. Meanwhile, Kurapika and Leorio were surrounded by a group of noggin-pulling turtles. So the two of them teamed up to defeat it, and together they chased after the group ahead. Suddenly, they encountered Hisoka, who was surrounded by a group of contestants. So they thought they would be heroes when they could eliminate a villain like Hisoka. But the result was only one. Then Hisoka declared himself the judge, to evaluate who was qualified to pass this round. So the group charged forward, but with just one strike, all of them fell in this deadly swamp. Now Hisoka shifted his target to the two of them, thinking the only way to escape was to defeat him. But knowing it would be like the others, Kurapika took advantage of Hisoka's momentary carelessness. So both separated and escaped. But young Leorio was a true hero. So he activated his massacre mode and charged to attack Hisoka. But with just a small move, everything was decided. Suddenly, Gon arrived, taking advantage of the moment. He used his fishing rod to attack Hisoka, which caught him very off guard. At this moment, he also noticed Gon. So Gon and Leorio took turns attacking Hisoka. But their strength was like Faker facing Chovy. Immediately, Leorio was defeated, and Gon was also captured by Hisoka. But with the power of our main character, in the end, Hisoka judged that Gon passed, so he carried Leorio away. Meanwhile, Kurapika returned and went with Gon toward the second checkpoint. Now there was only a little time left to finish the first stage. So they arrived just before time ran out, and Leorio had been helped by Hisoka. Finally, the first stage ended, and they all succeeded in passing it. Now the second stage was opened. The location would be the Visca forest, and the judges of this stage were Menchi and Buhara. So they announced the rules of the second stage, which was a cooking contest, because they were culinary hunters themselves. It sounded like something out of Toriko. Now Menchi also said, the rules of this round were very simple. That was to create a dish they found delicious. That made everyone laugh, because they didn't think culinary hunters existed in the world. That made Menchi very annoyed. And Buhara also said that the main ingredient for the contest was wild boar meat. And they could use meat from any kind of boar. At the same time, they could use any ingredients found here. As long as they felt it tasted good, they could pass this round. Thus, the second stage officially began. Quickly, everyone searched everywhere, but the truth was, in this forest, there existed only one species, called the Great Stamp, known as one of the most dangerous creatures, because they were very strong with their snouts, so they continuously attacked the contestants. Quickly, Gon flew up to attack them, but everything was useless against their power. Suddenly, a boar attacking Gon smashed him into a tree. Apples fell on their heads, knocking them unconscious, and everyone discovered the weakness of the Great Stamp, so they took turns attacking. Quickly, everyone returned to the meeting point to quickly complete their tasks, thinking it would be easy to pass. But life is not like a dream. Everyone cooked the boar meat the same way, which was grilling, but Buhara agreed with all the results, while Menchi rejected them all. No matter what they did, it made everyone uncomfortable, so Kurapika thought he could create a more special dish. So he made a hamburger, but only made it look nice for fun, so he only got an X. Now, because they were too full, Buhara couldn't eat anymore, so the contest ended, and no one was able to complete it. That made everyone dissatisfied with the judges. Then a chubby guy rushed forward to attack, but Buhara quickly defeated him. At this time, Menchi also said, "Never underestimate culinary hunters, because as hunters, their martial arts skills must be strong." So everyone had to accept it. Suddenly, a spaceship arrived. It turned out to be the Hunter Association, and the person who appeared was the chairman of the association. Just his landing made the ground crack, which surprised everyone greatly. At this time, he also showed displeasure at eliminating so many contestants. So Menchi explained, they have insulted culinary hunters, and their dishes did not dare to challenge anything new. So she judged them as failures, and declared she would resign if the association did not approve. So the chairman said to give them a chance, and Menchi agreed. Thus, the contest officially changed, which was to make boiled eggs. Now everyone moved to the Split Mountain, because this place was the nest of the spider eagle, and they had to jump down to take the eggs. So Menchi took the first turn, to show everyone how to overcome the challenge. With just one jump, she could get the egg, without any problem, which amazed everyone. And to successfully pass the challenge, everyone here had to feel the power of the wind in the mountain. So everyone jumped down at the same time. But since the cave did not always have wind, thanks to his keen sense of smell, Gon helped everyone successfully pass stage 2. Thus, all the contestants were taken to the location of stage 3, and this challenge would be held at the top of Trick Tower. To pass this stage, everyone had to survive the descent to the base of the tower. So the challenge officially began. At this moment, no one knew how to get down below, because if they jumped straight down, it would be like handing their lives over to death. But climbing down wasn't possible either, because there would be monsters attacking them. At this moment, Kurapika also sensed that the number of contestants was decreasing over time. Right then, Gon discovered a secret path in the tower. It turned out the tower was designed with special doors. When a person falls through one of these doors, it no longer works, so everyone split up to different doors. They thought that when they fell, everyone would be in different places. But surprisingly, the group gathered at the same spot, and they also found an instruction manual, saying that here they had to gather 5 people. There would also be 5 timers, which made everyone curious. Suddenly, a voice introduced himself. His name was Lippo, the judge of stage 3, and also the prison guard at this tower. To proceed further, they must be gathered as 5, and these timers would represent their approval or disapproval. While only 72 hours remained to pass the challenge, they had waited 2 hours without anyone finding this area. While Leorio was anxiously waiting, suddenly, Topo appeared, and he understood the situation here. So the whole group gathered to start the challenge. Now they would begin voting X or O to open the door. But the guide Topo chose X, just to challenge Gon's group with a psychological game. This made Leorio very annoyed with him. As they kept moving forward, they always had to choose right or left, so everyone chose the right side to continue. At this point, the whole group arrived at the competition location, where they would fight prisoners in this tower. These people were all special criminals, and this was also the main challenge of the tower. They had to fight one-on-one with each person. There were a total of 5 matches corresponding to 5 people. and they only needed to win 3 out of 5 matches to proceed. Now the battle officially began. The first prisoner to join the match was Bendot. So the guy Tonpa took the opportunity to fight the first round. And when he stepped onto the stage, Bendot proposed a death match. Everyone thought it would be a fight to the death. But unexpectedly, Tonpa prepared a frog jump stance. Immediately he knelt down to surrender, making everyone helpless in front of his skill. So the prisoner group easily got a win. Now Bendot explained that, if they could hold the contestants here for 72 hours, they would reduce their sentences by 72 years in the tower. When Tonpa returned, Leorio looked very annoyed, but this was also one of Tonpa's psychological moves. True to his title as the Rookie Destroyer. Now the second battle officially began, and Gon's opponent this time was Sedicon. Don't think he's a weak person, but actually Sedicon was very cunning. Quickly he proposed a game to Gon. The game was to blow out the opponent's candle. So he asked Gon to choose one of 2 candles. One was a long candle, the other a short candle. People with high IQ would definitely choose the short candle. But Gon did the opposite and chose the long candle, thinking that the longer it is, the longer it lasts. But sometimes if it's too long, it burns faster. Making everyone surprised. So they all agreed to pick the long candle. Usually, the long candle lasts about 5 to 6 hours, depending on the temperature of the flame. But everything was already planned by Sedicon. Suddenly Gon's candle burst into a fierce flame, because he had mixed gunpowder into that candle, causing it to burn much faster. In less than 3 minutes, Gon's candle was nearly gone. And no matter which candle was chosen, the result was the same. They thought the outcome was certain. But you never know before the last 90 seconds. Quickly Gon placed the candle down on the floor. At the same time, he activated the flash mode and dashed towards Sedicon to blow out his candle, causing everyone to be surprised by this one-of-a-kind move. Thus, the group of contestants secured their first victory. The third round officially began, and Kurapika's opponent this time was Magitani, a professional con artist. He declared that he had killed 19 people, asserting that Kurapika would be the 20th. Now he started to show off himself, thinking he could intimidate his opponent. But little did he know he met a tough guy, causing his con artist plan to be shattered into smoke. Then he flexed his muscles, quickly charging to attack Kurapika, simultaneously revealing the tattoo of the Ryoden gang, not knowing he had just encountered someone who wanted to destroy that gang completely. This made Kurapika furious, causing his eyes to immediately turn red. He quickly rushed up and grabbed Magitani, while delivering a knockout punch to defeat him, before Magitani declared surrender. Unexpectedly, the battle was not yet over, because the fight was only paused. When declaring surrender or death, Magitani had already fainted before he could declare surrender. So the battle continued. At this moment, Leorio called out to Kurapika to defeat him. But Kurapika said he had already fainted, so he would not continue the fight. Killua also realized that Kurapika had never killed anyone. Thus, Leorio suggested a vote to finish off Magitani. But it did not receive everyone's agreement, causing him to start feeling annoyed. And this made Tonpa very happy, thinking that this group would soon break apart. On Hisoka's side, the challenge had begun, and waiting for him was a judge from last year's competition. Thinking this would be a tough fight, but due to the great difference in power, Hisoka succeeded in passing, becoming the first to clear the challenge. Now Gon's group was curious whether Magitani had died, but due to the great distance, they couldn't verify it. And as time passed, Leorio suggested going to check, but he was not allowed. Now the girl on the prisoner's side proposed a bet, and the condition of the bet was time. Each of them would be counted as 10 hours, equivalent to the remaining 50 hours, while the prisoner's condition was 50 years. So the whole group agreed. At this moment, Leorio chose 10 hours as the time he was still alive, quickly approaching to check on Magitani. After checking, Leorio suggested, "Let's guess whether he is unconscious or not." And the girl bet 20 years, saying he was unconscious. So Leorio carried him closer to the edge of the arena. Quickly, the girl bet 40 years, saying Magitani was unconscious. But no one could beat the doctor, because the fear of death was in his blood. Magitani woke up and simultaneously begged to surrender. Thanks to Leorio's contribution, Gon's group secured their second victory. Now the fourth round officially began. Leorio's opponent was the girl from before. Her name was Lerud. Her first turn, she proposed a bet on whether Lerud was male or female. So the young Leorio bet 10 hours, guessing she was male, to be able to check Lerud's body. But Lerud said she was female. Thus the divine hand got to enjoy the sensation. Probably won't wash for 10 years now. It's Leorio's turn. With his own ability, he was confident in himself, quickly proposing a game of rock paper scissors. So Lerud bet 80 hours, claiming that she would win. This shocked Leorio. At this moment, both moved closer. Quickly, Lerud launched a psychological attack on Leorio, saying she could read minds, causing him to waver. In the first round, both threw scissors and it was a tie. But since Lerud had already launched the psychological attack early, it caused confusion for Leorio, freezing his thoughts. So in the second round, Lerud claimed victory, throwing paper while Leorio threw rock, simultaneously winning this round. Now the score was tied at 2 each. At this time, the group's remaining time was only 1 hour. This time Killua would start the final round, and his opponent was a serial killer, who had killed a total of 146 people, all sharing one common point, that they were killed by hand. Without hesitation, Killua was ready for the fight, thinking this would be a dramatic battle. Unexpectedly, with just a few moves, Killua captured the heart of the serial killer, causing everyone to be surprised. And the killer had no time to react, while young Killua even teased Bendot. But it was not easy for that guy to agree. Thus, with 3 victories, Gon's group secured the win, also winning the final round. At this time, the contestants began to finish their challenges one by one, while Gon's group had to stay for 50 hours to continue the next challenge. Quickly, the 50 hours passed. Now Gon's group would return to the challenge, but after running back and forth for 30 minutes, they returned to the arena. So everyone together overcame the traps in the tower. Finally, they approached the finish point, and this was the final gate, which would be decided by majority rule, and they had to choose X or O to accept the challenge. But this time, Toppo also chose X, intentionally causing trouble with Leorio. Now the rules were announced. To reach the finish point there were 2 paths. The first path could accommodate 5 people, but it was very difficult and full of dangers. The second path is for 3 people, but it is shorter and easier. However, the first path is limited to 45 hours, while the second path only takes 3 minutes to pass. But everyone only has 1 hour left to complete it. Now they must choose X or O to select the challenge. And in this room, there are many weapons, allowing everyone to freely choose. At this moment, the group was discussing which path to take. Those who choose the second path will eliminate 2 people, meaning they will have to fight each other. Leorio decided to take the second path, because he no longer had much time, while Gon chose the first path, because he had accompanied everyone to get here. Meanwhile, Killua still wanted Gon to continue with him. Suddenly, Tonpa used a weapon to attack Leorio. Quickly, Leorio counterattacked. While their fight was still ongoing, Tonpa's weapon accidentally gave Gon an idea. At the gathering point, another person had reached the finish, but due to their own exhaustion, they also died. Now, only 19 people remain here, and time was almost up. Suddenly, Gon, Killua, and Kurapika appeared. Meanwhile, Leorio and Tonpa also appeared from behind. Now we also know, they all chose the first path, and everyone held weapons in the room to break through the wall to the second path. Finally, they all overcame the challenge together. Now only 24 contestants remain. At this time, Lippo appeared to announce that stage 3 of Trick Tower had been completed, and only the last 2 stages remained for everyone to become professional hunters. Stage 4 would be held on Zebiru Island. Now he explained the rules. First, each of them would draw lots from a random box to know the target they would hunt. At the same time, they must protect their own contestant number to proceed to the next round. 6 points were needed, while there were only 3 ways to earn points. First, the target's contestant number was worth 3 points. Next, protecting their own number also earned 3 points. Finally, obtaining another player's number earned 1 point. Everyone could kill other contestants to take points from them. After explaining everything, all the contestants boarded the boat to reach the challenge location, while the guide Kara was explaining, but no one paid any attention to her. making her annoyed at being ignored. Now everyone has 2 hours to rest. While everyone was thinking about how to get the contestant numbers, our main character felt even more worried, because the number he drew was number 44. For all contestants in the competition, that was the death number, if they got it. But this didn't make Gon anxious. It only made him more excited, because the harder it was, the more worth challenging. Now everyone has arrived at Zebiru Island. At this time, Kara said all contestants would take turns going ashore to find ways to hide or ambush their opponents. And every 2 minutes, one person must go ashore and must earn 6 points to complete the challenge of stage 4. So everyone took turns going ashore to the island to prepare their plans. At this moment, Gon was thinking about how to steal Hisoka's contestant number. Attacking directly would easily get him caught, so the only way was to wait for the right moment to steal. While thinking, suddenly Gon saw a contestant being ambushed by another contestant. Quickly, the ambusher used a bow and arrow to attack, but he was discovered by the other person and was stopped in time. Thinking that everything ended there, but the arrow had been coated with poison. Immediately, the ambusher also claimed victory. Thus, Gon also learned how to defeat Hisoka. Quickly, Gon went to practice how to snatch targets. He started training to be able to aim at the birds. But meanwhile, someone was quietly watching him. At this time, everyone was still thinking about how to earn points. The next day, while watching, a bird was guarding the timing to catch the call. Immediately, Gon took advantage of the opportunity to attack, and finally, he succeeded, thinking that with the results of his training, he would definitely be able to steal Hisoka's card. But life was not like a dream. Gon at this time had no idea how to find Hisoka, but practicing too much caused a wound on his hand. Suddenly, butterflies in the forest gathered around Gon. It turned out they smelled the scent of blood and followed him, thinking he could use the butterflies to lead to Hisoka, because the wound Gon caused earlier was still there. So Gon followed the butterflies to search for Hisoka. Unexpectedly, they led him back to the place where the player was defeated. So Gon bandaged him up. At the same time, he continued to move forward. Finally, Gon managed to find Hisoka. At this moment, he had to try to stay calm, to be able to wait for the opportunity to come to him. Meanwhile, Leorio was trying to find his prey. Suddenly, Tonpa appeared, making him immediately cautious, thinking that Leorio was his prey. Suddenly, Tonpa showed the number card 191, so Leorio lowered his guard against Tonpa. Now Tonpa asked Leorio back, but he was not Leorio's prey either, so he showed the number card 246. Then Tonpa realized that Leorio's prey was Ponzu. Now Leorio was also curious about number 246. So Tonpa took the opportunity to make a condition. Suddenly, his stomach started having problems, taking advantage of the chance to ask Leorio for medicine. But it was not easy for him to get it. So he said Ponzu was a girl with the ability to use chemical weapons, and she was very knowledgeable about medicines. Hearing that, Leorio trusted him, told Tonpa to stay away from him, so that he could give him medicine for diarrhea. But just as he opened his bag, then suddenly, Leorio was attacked, and the number card in his bag also fell out. At this moment, Tonpa revealed his true face. It turned out that he had planned this together with this contestant. And Leorio's number card was Tonpa's target. The number 191 that he showed Leorio at first was actually his own target. This made Leorio very angry. So they worked together, taking advantage of the time to help each other escape, thinking they had tricked Leorio. Suddenly Kurapika appeared just in time, because the hero always appears last. So he helped Leorio catch Tonpa, and also took the chance to catch the monkey of Tonpa's accomplice. Since Tonpa was also Kurapika's target, he took Tonpa's number card, and Leorio also successfully got back his own number card, thinking that without him, Leorio wouldn't have been able to do anything. So Kurapika proposed that the two of them cooperate. Now he already had 6 points. So the problem to solve was Ponzu. So the two of them teamed up to find number 246. Meanwhile, Gon was still waiting. Suddenly Hisoka spoke. "I know you are here." Thinking he had been discovered. But no one else appeared either. Quickly, he rushed forward to attack Hisoka, while Gon still waited for Hisoka to counterattack, to take advantage of the time to steal the card. But every attack from this person was dodged by Hisoka. because he knew this guy had no time left. So he came to challenge Hisoka. But Hisoka no longer wanted to fight, because he didn't want to fight someone who was already dead. This made him very angry. He quickly rushed to attack, but was attacked by needles from Hisoka's accomplices. It turned out he was the target of the person with the piercings. So he already had 6 points. Suddenly, he removed his piercings, causing his face to change. At the same time, he dug a hole to hide underground and sleep until the end of the competition, while Gon still continued to wait for the opportunity. Now Hisoka had also left. Suddenly, his next targets were Kurapika and Leorio, while Gon continued to observe Hisoka. Suddenly, Hisoka changed his hunting mode. Then Gon also discovered his targets, which were Kurapika and Leorio. Quickly, he chased after Hisoka. Now he appeared in front of them, so he proposed that the two hand over their cards. But they refused. At this time, Kurapika also told Hisoka that, currently, the two of them held 4 cards. But they didn't know if any of these were Hisoka's targets. But now he only needed 2 cards, even if they were only worth 1 point each. So Kurapika listed the numbers they were holding. But none of those numbers were Hisoka's targets. Now Kurapika made a condition, that he would hand over a 1-point card. And if Hisoka refused, then immediately, they would resist Hisoka. Seeing their determination made Hisoka very excited, so he agreed to the deal. Now they would keep card number 191, quickly leaving, while Hisoka would wait a while then follow. Seeing their growth, this made Hisoka very excited. At this time, Gon continued to wait for the opportunity to come to him, knowing that he only had one single chance. So he would try his best to get through this round. Suddenly, the hunting instinct within Hisoka's body awakened, because of the excitement when meeting Kurapika's group. The next morning, Hisoka continuously searched for prey, knowing that this was the right opportunity. So Gon took a step ahead, taking advantage of the time to find a suitable place to attack. And also to find Hisoka's upcoming target. Now just a little more. Surely Hisoka would meet another contestant. And Gon had learned to conceal his presence. As soon as he saw the prey, immediately Hisoka rushed to attack. Quickly, the swordsman counterattacked, but Hisoka dodged it. Seeing that, Gon acted first, quickly using his fishing rod to snatch Hisoka's card before he could react, and Gon succeeded in stealing card number 44. This surprised Hisoka greatly. Quickly, the best strategy is to run away. Gon continued to flee and escape, but at this moment, his body felt paralyzed. It turned out he had also been ambushed by another contestant. The glasses-wearing one had been watching Gon for a long time. Quickly, he snatched 2 cards and left, thinking that everything had ended here. But no, Hisoka appeared, caught the glasses-wearing one, and also highly regarded Gon, because he had learned to conceal himself. So Hisoka gave Gon 2 cards, taking the opportunity to go hunt other prey. The poison currently on Gon would last about 10 days, which was also the time the competition would end. But things did not go as Hisoka originally intended. Gon fought back, quickly trying to get up, to return the cards to Hisoka. But actually, what Hisoka wanted was more than that. Hisoka wanted to see Gon's growth. Quickly, he threw a punch, causing Gon to lose consciousness. Finally, Hisoka left, and Gon would wait, to be able to settle this score. On Killua's side, he was being watched by a group of 3 brothers, thinking he was just a kid. So the brothers underestimated Killua. They immediately sent the youngest brother to quickly complete the mission. So he went up to Killua to prove his ability, but Killua called him a fool, which made him angry. He instantly kicked Killua away. But that attack had no effect on Killua, and Killua took advantage of the moment to snatch the youngest brother's card. Now the 3 brothers realized this was not an ordinary kid, and among them, they also held the card Killua needed. So quickly Gon approached the second brother to threaten him into handing over card number 199, which was Killua's target. Meanwhile, Hanzo was hiding to search for his own target. So Killua succeeded in getting the card, and found out Hanzo was nearby. So he threw the other 2 cards elsewhere, and even mischievously swapped the cards, making Hanzo almost cry. Nothing in life is given for free. Finally, Killua earned 6 points, and completed this hunting mission. On Leorio's side, they were also trying to find Ponzu, but time was almost up, yet they still couldn't find her. So Kurapika advised him to stay calm. Maybe Ponzu was hiding somewhere. At that moment, unexpectedly, Gon appeared too, and he said that there were many people hiding around here. Then Leorio asked Gon if there was any way to find Ponzu. Knowing that she used chemicals, Kurapika suggested Gon try using his sense of smell to try to search for her later. Quickly, Gon took advantage of his sense of smell. The group crossed forests, waded through streams, and enjoyed the journey to find Ponzu at all costs. Finally, in front of the cave entrance, Gon sensed Ponzu's scent there. So Leorio suggested he would check by himself. But the two of them disagreed. So Kurapika gave him 30 minutes. If Leorio didn't come out, they would go inside. Now he had entered the cave. Suddenly, the first person he met was Bourbon. And Ponzu was also there. Knowing that he was Leorio's target, she said that, even if they attacked, they couldn't do anything. Because inside this cave, once you go in, you cannot step back out. Outside, the two of them were waiting for Leorio. Suddenly, he shouted, telling them, "Don't come in," but both of them ran inside anyway. At the same time, they discovered that Leorio was poisoned. Now they also knew that Bourbon was the one who set the trap here. Because he was the snake trainer. Once you step inside, when you try to leave, you will be surrounded by extremely venomous snakes. Bourbon was also killed by Ponzu. That's why she got stuck here as well. So Ponzu explained that Bourbon was her target. When she saw him enter the cave, she released sleeping gas inside the cave. But when Ponzu tried to approach Bourbon, she was immediately attacked by the snakes. Ponzu is also a user of insects. And she is the one who controls the bees. When she is unconscious or collapses, the bees immediately attack anyone nearby. This caused Bourbon's death. At the same time, he set traps here, causing her to be trapped here. But now she has also given up on this competition, just waiting for the judges to come and save them. Because the tags were equipped with tracking devices. She had also warned Leorio. But since he did not listen, he was attacked by snakes. Seeing that Leorio didn't have much time left, if they waited for the judges to come, he would surely die. So Gon suggested getting the antidote from Bourbon's body. Because those who use poison surely carry an antidote just in case. So Gon approached Bourbon. Immediately Gon found the antidote. Quickly threw it to Kurapika before he passed out, and Kurapika quickly injected the antidote into both of them. Now Gon proposed to exchange with Ponzu, asking if she still had any sleeping poison. He would give her Bourbon's tag, so they could make a trade. Then Gon suggested filling the cave with sleeping gas. He would bring everyone outside. Thanks to Gon's effort, everyone could escape from the cave. When outside, Gon also took Ponzu's tag. So their group successfully passed stage 4. Now the hunting challenge time is over. Everyone quickly gathered on the ship, so Kara could check the scores. Currently, 6 candidates have passed the challenge. Then Gon's group appeared. Finally, stage 4 ended successfully, with the participation of 9 rookie contestants this year, making the chairman very happy. Now, while on the spaceship, Leorio also thanked the two of them for carrying him this far. Suddenly, the chairman announced he wanted to interview each contestant in the competition. The first person was Hisoka. So the chairman asked 3 questions. The first was why he wanted to become a hunter. Hisoka answered, because the hunter license is very useful, and killing people will not be punished. The second question was which candidate among the 9 Hisoka had his eye on. Immediately, Hisoka answered Kill Lua. The last question was who Hisoka least wanted to face. He answered Gon, and this young man even demanded a one-on-one duel with the chairman. Truly, not knowing one's strength can be fearless. Then everyone was called in one by one inside. Finally, it was Gon's turn. The first person he wanted to face was Hisoka, and the people he did not want to face were Kill Lua, Leorio, and Kurapika. Now the chairman had chosen the opponents for the contestants in the final stage, which made him excited, looking forward to the outcome of the battle. At this moment, noticing Gon seemed troubled, he approached Gon and asked him. Then Kurapika understood Gon's problem, so he encouraged Gon, so they could all try harder together. The next day, everyone arrived at the location, where the final stage of the competition would be held. Just one more step and they would become professional hunters. At this time, the chairman announced the rules, and the final round would be a one-on-one match. where winning just one match meant passing. Especially, only one person would be eliminated, because when a contestant lost, they still had the right to fight again. And the first match was between Gon and Hanzo. Then the chairman explained further that this arrangement was based on their performance in the previous rounds, as well as the voting from the contestant survey, with the main factors being physical strength, spirit, and power. However, anyone who kills their opponent is immediately eliminated. Now the competition officially begins. The first match is Hanzo versus Gon. At this moment, Hanzo asked if using any means to make the opponent surrender counts as a victory. The referee immediately agreed, so the match began. Immediately, Gon took advantage to create distance from Hanzo, but Hanzo quickly reacted by chopping Gon's neck, causing Gon to lose consciousness. Then Hanzo tried hard to twist Gon's joints to wake him up, so he could force him to surrender. But with his strong will, Gon would not give up so easily. Hanzo continued to deliver decisive blows, which made Leorio and Kurapika very upset. They advised Gon to surrender, because there were still chances ahead, but he was too stubborn. Now the battle had lasted over 3 hours. Hanzo still kept torturing Gon. Finally, he decided to break Gon's arm. But no matter what, Gon did not give up. Outside, Leorio and Kurapika were very angry, and were fighting the young man Hanzo. At this moment, Hanzo suddenly started rambling about life and humanity in his journey as a ninja. Gon immediately kicked Hanzo. Now Hanzo gave Gon an ultimatum, saying, "I will cut off your head." Then young Gon replied, "I do not accept," causing everyone in the hall to freeze for 5 seconds. And that made Hanzo even more annoyed, knowing that killing someone would mean immediate elimination. Gon was very confident. The atmosphere in the hall was no longer as tense as before. Now Hanzo used weapons against Gon. But with Gon's spirit, Hanzo gave up and surrendered. Hanzo surrendered, but Gon did not accept it. So a verbal fight broke out. Immediately Hanzo launched a decisive strike, causing Gon to lose consciousness. Finally, Gon won the first match. The next day, Gon woke up, and the person beside him was Satatsu. He congratulated Gon on becoming a professional hunter, and explained the benefits of the hunter license. This card is very important to every hunter, because it holds immense value. Finally, Gon was very happy to receive the card. Now Satatsu told about what had happened in the matches. Satatsu said, "Kill Lua has killed someone, and was officially eliminated from the competition." According to Satatsu, the matches continued. Then Kurapika faced Hisoka. It seemed like a one-sided match, but Hisoka said something to Kurapika. Right after that, he surrendered. The next match was Hanzo versus Pakuru, and Pakuru was in a similar situation as Gon, but unable to withstand the pressure. Hanzo won. Then it was Hisoka versus Midoro. The fight ended quickly again, with Hisoka as the victor. The fifth match was Kill Lua versus Pakuru, but Kill Lua surrendered, feeling the match was too boring. The sixth match between Leorio and Midoro was postponed, because of injuries from the previous match. So the next match was Kill Lua versus Gatarakuru. But when the match started, Gatarakuru revealed his true identity, which surprised Kill Lua greatly, because it was his older brother, and his real name was Izumi. Immediately, he pressured Kill Lua, saying, "Kill Lua can never become a hunter. He has been a killing tool since the beginning of his life." At this moment, he increased the pressure on Kill Lua. Then Leorio said, Kill Lua didn't need to try to be friends with Gon, because from the start, they had already become friends. Izumi also said he would kill Gon as soon as he found him, but was stopped by everyone. So Izumi decided to become a hunter, to target Gon later on. He immediately turned the pressure back on Kill Lua, so Kill Lua surrendered. The next match was between Leorio and Midoro. But when the match happened, Kill Lua quickly ended Midoro's life, which officially meant he was eliminated. So everyone had become hunters. Now Gon was really angry. Immediately went to find Izumi. Gon said, "Apologized to Kill Lua right now," but was refused by him. Immediately Gon counterattacked, quickly pulling Izumi into the air, because he believed that Izumi had manipulated Kill Lua. He wanted to go meet Kill Lua. Meanwhile, the hall was discussing this issue, because everyone thought Izumi had hypnotized Kill Lua's thoughts. But everything was denied by the chairman. He realized there was no hypnotic behavior. At this time, Pakuru was very dissatisfied with Leorio and Kurapika, saying that the two had made some deal with Hisoka. Then Kurapika said that he was the same, which made Pakuru very uncomfortable. Now Gon shouted out, declaring that he would continue to be friends with Killua. If he knew that Izumi had caused Killua to kill, then Gon would be the first to defeat Izumi. Now the chairman spoke up, saying Killua was eliminated after killing Bidoro. So now everyone had passed. Now the guide explained the benefits of the card. These cards can help them easily enter countries. And these cards also bring high financial and economic benefits. They must not lose the card, because once lost, it will not be reissued. And their first mission, the mission was to protect this card. Finally, the chairman announced, the hunter exam was officially over, and everyone had become professional hunters. Now Gon went to meet Izumi, and asked how to find him. Izumi said they lived on the Kukuru mountain peak. Seeing Gon's strength, Izumi thought of ways to kill him before he matured. Hearing this, Hisoka was very annoyed, because Izumi was competing for his prey. Now everyone was discussing how to meet Killua. At this time, Hanzo came to say goodbye. Pakuru also came to apologize, hoping to meet them again later, because he wanted to become a rare hunter. Pakuru held an information checkbook. Now he asked if anyone wanted to look up someone. Gon suggested searching for a person named Jin Furikusu. But all information was restricted, because all his information was top secret. Pakuru then said goodbye to them. At this time, Satatsu came to meet Gon. So he told about the journey of an archaeological hunter, who was someone Satatsu greatly admired. That person always charged money to restore the destroyed ruins, and enjoyed life exploring relics. And the name of that hunter was Jin Furikusu. Hearing that, Gon was very excited about his father, and thanked Satatsu for telling him about Jin. So he said goodbye to him. Now the three of them were searching for Killua's residence, to begin the rescue and help him escape from his family. Up to here, part 1 of the Hunter x Hunter anime has come to an end. Today's video ends here. Thank you all for watching my video. Please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, to wait for the next parts. Love you all forever.